Man, do you like podcasts? Well then,
welcome to
No Gimmicks Needed.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
this is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. So, all right, well, I figured that since me and Prime recorded the podcast on Monday, and I knew that if I put out what happened with AJ on Smackdown, especially with it being on Tuesday, I was like, it will be kind of hard to ignore what happened with AJ on Monday. So I figured I'd go do both and then add the Raw review to the podcast as well. And not a full Raw review, but basically to talk about some of the highlights that happened on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, because this is going to be the first night that AJ Lee was going to speak. She didn't speak on Friday. So it was basically a homecoming for her, because the last time we seen AJ Lee was in a 6-woman tag match on the Raw after WrestleMania 31, 10 years ago. So her coming back to Raw and her going to cut the promo is when we had to talk about it. Also, the things that happened on the show, the Usos reunited, like, officially, and we officially got the Usos taking on Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed. Now, before I even get into the AJ stuff, well, the thing about the Usos is, like, it's like, I'm glad to see the Usos come back, to be honest with you. I'm just like, but it was something weird that happened at the end of that show, because once again, LA Knight comes out and he attacks Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. He tells Adam Pearce in the back that he don't care if it's LeBron James. Anybody got named Braun in it, he want to fight them tonight, which will be the main event, which is LA Knight taking on Bronson Reed. Now, there was something that happened that kind of shocked everybody, to be completely honest with you, of what happened on the show at the end, because after the match with LA Knight and Bronson Reed, they had Braun Breaker come down to distract LA Knight, and then Bronson Reed hit the jagged edge for the win, and then they start jumping him, and that's when Jimmy Uso comes down there to help LA Knight. So he does come down there to help LA Knight. Then even Jey Uso comes down there and runs down there and helps LA Knight also. Now, as LA Knight is helping up Jimmy Uso, out of nowhere, Jay hits Knight with a spear. And I mean, I hate Jey Uso spears, but it's actually a pretty decent looking spear this time. And looks at his brother as the show ends. Here's the thing is, I'm like, there's no way they're going to try to turn Jey Uso heel now. So what's going on? Is it to have some edge in the character? Because right now the heat is over like crazy, right? And you don't want to just end there right now. I'm just like, because look, Jimmy can't catch a break nowhere. It's like, finally, when Jimmy can finally latch on to the success that his brother got and be the Usos again, and they're gonna try to turn him heel, like, no, Jimmy, no, Big Jim, you can't have none of this. That would be hilarious. But no, that's not that's not where they're gonna go with this. I don't think so. And now, I was like, I don't necessarily recall the beef between Jey Uso and LA Knight, other than what them at Clash in Paris in the Fatal 4-Way matchup, because it was every man for himself. But I think they got to try to do something else, especially with LA Knight, because one of the problems that I see is that LA Knight, since coming to Raw, the whole purpose to bring LA Knight to Raw was to get him away from SmackDown in the Bloodline, or the Bloodline 2.0, or whatever you want to call it. But that ain't the case this time, because all LA Knight has done is gone from the Bloodline to the Visionary. And that's all he's been doing on Raw. He has been taking on different kinds of matches with Seth, Braun, and Bronson, all since he's been on Raw. And that's been, 8 weeks now, I believe it was? 8-9 weeks? So they have to probably try to do something. And I think that, because since it's literally the same thing, it's like, how many times can you mix this thing up every single week, right? How many times can you actually do that? So I'm not necessarily sure, but I do believe that something has to change. And I think maybe with Jey Uso showing a little bit of an edge here, like, hold on, bro, this is my brother now. You know, so he territorial over his brother, and it can give LA Knight somebody else to turn his direction to, opposed to Jey Uso. I don't think they're going to turn Jey Uso 100% heel, But if they're going to have to do something with Jey Uso in LA Knight, you got to probably add a little bit of something in there. Because I think right now it will probably be kind of wrong to turn Jey Uso heel right now. I really think, especially with the popularity and then like heel Uso stuff like that, and we're just going backwards. I don't know. And honestly, to be honest with you, when it comes to WrestlePalooza, I think that they should. I like the old Usos theme song. The Usos, which is because the one Jey Uso got right now is a remix of It's Just Me Uso. I mean, you can still do the Yeet with the day one ish regular Uso song. So I'm curious if they're gonna bring that back or not, or if they're just gonna both come out to the main event Jey Uso's theme. Like I don't necessarily know how this is going to work, but that was just puzzling to me because at first I was like, oh my god, heel turn are coming already, but I don't necessarily think that is necessarily the case. Okay, and all the other stuff that had happened on Raw, they had Rusev and Penta, which I thought as though should have been it should have been a dope match, but it ended up being mid at best. And of course, the New Day got in there with the segment. They had Asuka taking on Nikki Bella. Asuka won that match, obviously. And then they had Raquel Rodriguez taking on Lyra Valkyria. But Raquel Rodriguez won that one. Now, there's something on Raw that I had to talk about with AJ Styles. AJ Styles had a match with Grande Americano Ludwig Kaiser. And he picks up the win. And that's how the important thing is, because while he was out, AJ came out first, and they went to a commercial break. But now y'all know that during the Netflix commercial break, that they got, AJ was cutting a promo, and he knew that they was on commercial break, but it was like a work shoot type promo where he said that, hey, I'm out here all alone. I don't have a club no more. I don't have no clique. Gallows and Anderson is gone. Meechin is on SmackDown. And where is Omos? Now, he didn't say Omos in this promo, but there was something that happened back during Clash of Paris. He had a backstage interview that he mentioned Omos. So, AJ's by himself. It's like, it seems as though somebody in the back doesn't want me here. Right? Now, once again, they would want you to think, or have you think that he's taking shots at Triple H. Now, to me, this is something interesting for AJ Styles to do because he's been doing nothing interesting. It says, for a while, this is AJ Styles, and we're running out of time on AJ Styles because he's getting older. But he's still AJ Styles, right? But there's nothing for him to do. And my biggest thing is there were reports of him being unhappy and his son coming out and saying that he's not liking the way that his dad's being booked on these shows. I mean, it is AJ F. Styles. They got him in the feud with Dominic. But I'm like, he could be doing so much more. Now, if this is a world work shoot thing, like to try to call out Triple H to have him have some type of storyline going on, that would be interesting. But is it going to be, here's the thing, is there any meat to this bone? Or is it going to be more of a Karrion Kross situation where he did a work shoot, and next thing you know, say, okay, we really didn't care. They showed us that commercial break. This wasn't even on the part where everybody else could see it if they couldn't see what happened on the commercial break. So is it going to be like just let him blow some steam off and he'll get over it? Because once again, there are people saying that, hey, Vince booked AJ better than Triple H has. I hate to give Vince any credit about anything, but Vince did book AJ Styles better than Triple H has. And I don't know if it's truly a fact that Triple H does not know what to do with AJ Styles, kind of like Eric Bischoff didn't know what to do with Bret Hart in WCW. I don't know if that's the case, or if it's that he wants something better for AJ Styles, or if he don't like TNA guys. I don't necessarily know. I don't know why, because we got a whole partnership with him. But that was just curious to me, and I was like, I really want to see where that's going to lead to. But the big thing is, so now since AJ returned on SmackDown, now it's time for AJ to return on Raw. And she comes out, massive reaction. The reaction ain't died down. It's a massive ass reaction. And she is wearing Becky Lynch's Women's Intercontinental Championship. And the crowd does the chanting, welcome back, and like, she's in there and like, taking it back as she should be. And like I said, AJ deserves this reaction that she's getting right now. And 10 years ago, she retired. She felt like she accomplished all her dreams of wrestling, and she was content to hang up the Chuck Taylors, right? And she thought it was the end of her story, and she was never going to wear the jean shorts, or they were 2 sizes too small, or during accomplishment, or these crazy dreams she had. But most importantly, she went on a mental health journey. First of all, she turned this promo, this is how good AJ is. AJ turned this whole promo into like a PSA for mental health. It was like she was doing more work than Better Help was. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't healthy. She took care of herself and got right. And she went to therapy and got treatment. Peep this. A therapy chant started. A therapy chant started on Raw or for AJ Lee promo. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, if AJ Lee help boost the percentage of people that join BetterHelp after this promo, they need to cut her a check. I'm just saying. I am just saying. She said she found a way to turn mental chaos into a superpower. The fight isn't easy. If you're going to do the same thing, the fight is worth it. You are worth it. I was actually kind of happy. I was like, man, there are going to be a lot of people that don't listen to a lot of podcasts or listen to a lot of things that promote better health, but they watch wrestling or they love AJ Lee or from back in the day. And if she's saying it, I think it could really help. Thank you, AJ Lee, for that. I would really thank her for that. She said she was really doing really good, and then she watched Monday Night Raw. Healing isn't linear. And the one thing you see your husband fight Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Seth Rollins, another thing, but entirely ring with Becky Lynch. And there is a world, for all, she was upset about the stuff that Becky Lynch was doing. She said there would have been a world where they could have been friends, but then she went motorboated her husband. She put her hands on him, berated him, and defamed him. Now, before also, she did have a line that I did like. I forgot to say that. And again, she says, it's been a while. So, for those kids out there who are wondering why their millennial parents are excited, which is myself, okay, that she said, allow me to reintroduce myself. I am AJ Lee. I am your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. I always love that line. I'm your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. You can see Roxanne Perez I'm fangirling. She had a picture up where she took a picture of her AJ Lee took like 10 years ago, and they redid the picture. Like there's a lot of women in the back that are so happy AJ Lee is back. But anyway, I'd get it out there. But Becky Lynch comes out, and Becky Lynch talks about that Lynch is already mad that AJ is wearing her title, and it's one of the most important titles in the division, and the crowd keeps saying you suck, and she was like, I'm going to need to go to therapy after this, and another therapy chant picks up, and then Becky takes off her glasses, revealing the black eye, and then AJ was like, if you're the greatest of all time, why don't you come in the ring and get the title back? But then Seth comes out. Becky is getting pissed, and he's like, don't worry, I'll handle it, okay? And he says that Seth said, look, we can make this real easy. You can just give her title back, and then we can leave this dump of a city. AJ said, I got a better idea. She can come here and take it, or she can risk getting another black eye. But you can have it back if you agree to have a tag match. AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky and Seth at WrestlePalooza. They really loaded this WrestlePalooza show. So Ron said, no, you don't call the shots. I call the shots. And he goes to the ring to get the title back to give to his incredible wife. And that'll be the end of it. Then Lee was like, well, I thank you for mansplaining things. And Rollins gets into the ring, and Lee stands in his way, and Rollins goes around her, but she continues to get in his way. And Rollins is getting upset and warns her to listen. The title doesn't belong to her. That's his title. Then that's when CM Punk walks up behind Becky Lynch and walks by her, and Punk gets into the ring and turns Seth around to go for a GTS, but he gets out of it, and the crowd erupts for CM Punk. Then AJ picks up the championship, kisses it, and throws it at Becky's feet as they embrace in the ring. So it was a really good segment to hear AJ. And first of all, her getting therapy over was something great. I appreciative of that, and I just liked it. And like I said, it took up a good amount of time, honestly. It took up a good amount of time, but they are stacking that WrestlePalooza card up. They're really stacking it up. And I'm actually excited to see the WrestlePalooza show. I want to see what AJ looks like back into the ring. Because once again, AJ, I'm not saying she was the most innovative when it came to different moves, stuff like that. But that woman can sell. She could sell her ass off. But I would like to see what what AJ and Becky are going to bring to the match. And I know AJ gonna make that manhandle Sam look good because it doesn't look good at all. But yeah, I know it was a good segment. It was a good solid segment for AJ. She had a good Raw and SmackDown, so it's great to see AJ Lee back.